I use aerobic development days. I use tempos and recovery days to get some of that aerobic capacity. But that's a whole nother.
Well, and that was a big thing that you said to me yesterday, because I'm trying to figure out the next stage of my training. He's like, you really shouldn't have a day off. Like, even if you go, like Monday's your heavy, high intensity day, well, your recovery day, you can still get a lot of aerobic work in. Yeah. I could just do barefoot not shuttles, but tempos. I could do jump rope. I can do some light swings. I can do some mobility work. I can push a light prowler. I can do things to keep my heart rate elevated and get that aerobic ESD effect, and at the same time recover so that I can have an intense session the next day.
Yeah, I mean, the tempos is something that I took from Charlie Francis in his Functional Training Systems book. But basically, you want to do low intensive stuff that's not going to tax your nervous system or your muscular system, and do it at a high pace, a high rate, so that you're getting a lot of work in, but you're not taxing yourself. You're getting a lot of blood flow, the heart's going. If you can get the heart going at 120 plus beats per minute to 130 beats per minute, and do that for a half an hour, that's an aerobic session. You've increased your aerobic capacity, and you're not doing it in a way that you're taxing yourself or decreasing your force outputs for the next day. You're actually enhancing recovery.
And one thing that you said that I thought was brilliant too is, why not do something like a prowler push for that, because it's very concentric based, and the concentric work is not going to cause as much muscular soreness and fatigue as getting under a heavy barbell and doing some kind of long eccentric thing.
I know that might seem like alarming to a lot of people, because a prowler push sucks and it's really hard. But if we're doing a prowler push for a recovery day, you're doing it at a really low weight, and you're doing it at like a jogging pace. You're not going all out. So if you usually use, like, say 100 pounds on it, you're putting, like, you maybe put 25s on each side. You're going really light, you're doing it at a jogging pace, and you're kind of keeping it moving. Like I said, you're trying to keep that heart rate up, so you might even mix something else in, so it's not all leg. We don't want to get into that lactic state. We don't want the legs burning. We don't want you dying.
Right.
We just want your heart rate going. And since you're using so many muscles when you're doing that, and you're taking out that eccentric phase of the running with the prowler push, you shouldn't be taxed the next day. You should actually feel better the next day.
And another example, what was the Cal Dietz idea of the one leg, opposite arm?
Yeah, I mean, this is something I haven't implemented too much. I tried it myself, but Cal Dietz would use... He'll have like a series of exercises. I went to Minnesota and spent a day with him, and it was a recovery day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a recovery day." I was like, "I'm kind of glad it's a recovery day. Like, I want to see this." So he had it, and they spent, like I said, it was about a half an hour, and they would do a movement with one arm. So if you're using your right arm, they'd be doing something on the left leg as well. So they're always using the opposite side, so that basically the heart had to pump blood to this far into the body and that far into the body. And basically, since they were doing that, they were really light, like really easy exercises. The heart was working really hard though, and even though you weren't doing that much and it wasn't like taxing that much, the heart had to work really hard to pump blood all the way across the body to left leg to your right arm, and then you do the opposite, left arm to right leg. So the heart had to work a lot harder than the actual intensity of work you were doing.
Interesting. We'll have to look more into that, because we love Cal Dietz's work. I haven't experimented with that. It makes sense logically. Yeah. A basic example exercise would be grabbing a Kaiser machine or a cable and sitting back and doing a skater squat, and as you bring your hips through on that skater squat, pulling into a row. Opposite arm, opposite leg, just working that, getting the blood flow nice and light.
He had athletes, I think he had like 18 stations set up, like stuff like
18?
Like 18 of them, and he would have an athlete at a station do 30 seconds on the other side, 30-second break, go to the next station, do a minute there, 30-second break, and rotate. So I said it would be about a half an hour, maybe a little less than a half an hour, and you'd hit 18 different like real light intensity movements, but you just never stop moving. Your heart rate, like I said, was between that 120 to 130 the entire time.